Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show.
Cup of Joe Wrestling Show?
With Joey Harris. A podcast for the wrestling fan on the go. So take your favorite beverage of choice and join Joey as he takes a look at some of the biggest shows on the WWE Network.
Welcome to the Cup of Joe Wrestling Show. I'm your host, Joey Harris, and we are broadcasting from makeshift studios in the shadow of South Central Virginia. Follow the show's Twitter at Cup of Joe Pod, email the show at cupofjoewrestlingshow@gmail.com, support the show at paypal.me/cupofjoepod. I am on Cash App and Venmo at the Joey Harris. If you would just like to send me something, I would really appreciate it. And folks, as you listen to this, it is the day after Christmas. I hope that you had a very Merry Christmas and were able to take some time out to enjoy time away from work or just to relax or spend time with friends or family. And I hope that you had a wonderful holiday, as today we look at the Invasion pay-per-view from the WWF. Invasion was shown on pay-per-view on July the 22nd, 2001 from the Gund Arena in Cleveland, Ohio. There were 17,876 in attendance, and the show did 775,000 pay-per-view buys, which was huge for one of the non-big pay-per-view events. We start out with our intro. Jim Ross welcomes us to Invasion. He and Michael Cole will be the announcers for the event. Lance Storm and Mike Awesome versus Edge and Christian. Storm and Awesome already in the ring. Storm starts to address the crowd, but gets interrupted by Edge's music. Awesome and Christian start, and Awesome attacks Christian in the corner. Christian ducks a corner clothesline, gets a drop toe hold, and Edge tagged in. Awesome with a clothesline and Storm tagged in. Back and forth. Edge hits a missile drop kick. Storm backdrop outside onto Awesome. Christian tries to dive onto them but gets hung up. Edge with a backbreaker for a 1 count. Storm and Christian trade blows. Storm and Awesome double team Christian. They dump him out, and Awesome attacks Christian on the outside. Christian is thrown back in, and he tries to fight Storm off. Storm runs Christian into the ring post to get a 2 count. Awesome tagged in. He gets a 2 count on a splash. He runs Christian into Storm's leg, and Storm tagged in. He gets a 2 count. Storm with a knee lift for another 2 count. Awesome tagged in and cuts off a Christian tag attempt. Edge makes the save on a pin attempt. Awesome with a flying clothesline. He hits a frog splash, but Edge makes the save again. Christian counters a top rope powerbomb into a backdrop. A double count going. Edge and Storm tagged in. Edge cleans house. Back and forth. A series of close counts. Awesome tagged in. Christian hits a top rope double clothesline, and Edge hits Awesome with a spear, but Storm breaks up the count. Christian clotheslines Storm out. Awesome gets a 2 count on Edge. Awesome sets Edge up for a powerbomb, only to get speared by Christian, and Edge falls on Awesome to get the pin. Vince McMahon shown in the back cheering Edge and Christian's win. William Regal comes in and tells him that Steve Austin and Deborah have arrived. McMahon tells Regal to give them space and tells Regal to get ready for his match with Raven. Flashback to what led to the next match. WWF referee Earl Hebner versus WCW referee Nick Patrick. Mick Foley is the special guest referee. Both referees come out flanked by other referees from their respective organizations. The bell rings and they shove each other. Patrick slaps Hebner. Hebner comes back and beats Patrick down in the corner for a 2 count. They each vie for position. Patrick kicks Hebner out of the ring, and the other referees surround him. Foley makes them get back. Hebner comes in and Patrick kicks him. Hebner with corner-mounted punches. Patrick comes back with a forearm shot and a baseball slide to knock Hebner out. The referees start to fight each other on the outside. Foley sends the WCW referees to the back. Patrick is angry at Foley because of it as a Foley chant goes out. Patrick turns around. Hebner hits a modified spear to get the pin. Patrick argues with Foley, and Foley puts Mr. Sacco on Patrick. We get a Tough Enough ad. Cole and JR talk about the inaugural brawl and show DDP taking Deborah and Steve Austin taking off after them. They show Deborah with the Undertaker's wife Sarah talking about DDP in the back. They say after tonight, there'll be nothing left of DDP. Flashback to what led to the next match. WCW Tag Team Champions Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire versus WWF Tag Team Champions, the APA Farouk and Bradshaw. APA out first to great cheers. O'Haire and Palumbo booed when they come out. They run to the ring and brawl with the APA. Bradshaw starts with Palumbo. He beats Palumbo down. O'Haire tagged in and hits Bradshaw with forearms. Back and forth. Farouk tagged in. He and O'Haire trade shots. O'Haire gets a 2 count. Palumbo tagged in. Farouk gets a shoulder block. Bradshaw tagged in. He hits a fallaway slam for 1 count. O'Haire comes in and double team on Bradshaw. Bradshaw DDTs Palumbo. Double count going. Farouk tagged in. Double team to get Farouk down. Palumbo gets a 2 count. O'Haire tagged in. Double back elbow to Farouk. O'Haire with a knee lift for a 2 count. Farouk with a spine buster. Another double count going. Palumbo and Bradshaw both tagged in. Bradshaw with a power slam for a 2 count. Bradshaw double teamed in the corner. He comes back with a clothesline from hell to get the pin. Vince McMahon talks to Chris Jericho about the main event. Jericho talks about being in WCW and ECW and about Paul Heyman and his influence. He says they will get even. Stephanie and Shane are with Billy Kidman. They say he needs to take X-Pac down. Kidman says it's under control. Paul Heyman comes and says they are losing. It's all up to Billy Kidman. Kidman says he's got this. WWF Light Heavyweight Champion X-Pac versus WCW Cruiserweight Champion Billy Kidman. X-Pac out first. Kidman gets some cheers when he comes out. The bell rings and they circle each other. X-Pac with a takedown. They get back to their feet. X-Pac with a shoulder block. Kidman with a drop toe hold and a leg scissors. He follows it up with an enziguri. That gets the 2 count. X-Pac throws Kidman to the outside. He hits Kidman on the outside with a body press. He gets a heel kick to get a 2 count on Kidman. X-Pac with a rear chin lock. He puts Kidman in a sleeper. Kidman gets out and counters into a sleeper of his own. X-Pac out, but misses a top rope splash. Kidman hits a back elbow and a powerbomb for a 2 count. X-Pac uses the ropes to get a 2 count. Kidman with a modified X-Factor-like move for a 2 count. X-Pac hits the X-Factor for a 2 count. X-Pac chokes Kidman in the corner. Kidman avoids the Bronco Buster and hits a shooting star press to get the pin. First win for WCW and ECW. DDP comes into the WCW-ECW locker room. He tells them that he is in Steve Austin and The Undertaker's heads, and he is ready for tonight. Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson are shown. They talk about their match later. Raven versus William Regal. Regal comes out waving to the crowd. The bell rings and they lock up. Regal beats Raven down in the corner. They roll out and brawl briefly. Regal gets a 2 count. He gets several 2 counts. Raven backdrop to the outside. Regal keeps the assault up. Regal dumped to the outside, and Raven hit a baseball slide to Regal. He follows it up with a Russian leg sweep on the outside. Raven with a series of shoulders to Regal. He follows that up with a clothesline. Regal with a suplex. Raven with a second rope forearm shot to Regal. Regal comes back with a knee to Raven. Raven with a roll-up for a 2 count. Raven with a bulldog for another 2 count. Regal rolls through a sunset flipped attempt to get a 2 count. Another roll-up and a 2 count. Regal gets a series of 2 counts. Regal avoids the DDT by running Raven into a corner. Raven gets hit with an elbow and falls out of the ring. When the referee goes and checks on him, Taz comes down and hits a T-bone suplex to Regal. Raven hits the DDT to Regal to get the pin. Vince McMahon tells The Undertaker and Kane that they have lost 2 in a row and they will have to be at the top of their game. He recounts everything that has happened to them until Undertaker grabs him by the throat and runs him into the wall. Undertaker, Kane, and Sarah leave, and McMahon is shown smiling. 6-man tag: The Big Show, Billy Gunn, and Albert versus Shawn Stasiak, Chris Kanyon, and Hugh Morris. WCW attacks WWF from behind, only for the WWF stars to press slam them. Kanyon and Gunn start. Kanyon beats Gunn down in the corner. Gunn with a backdrop to Kanyon. Kanyon bridges out of a pin. Kanyon with a leg sweep and a facebuster. Stasiak tagged in and the crowd taunts him with his old WWF moniker of Meat. Gunn hits a back elbow. Gunn hits a neck breaker. Both men down. Albert tagged in. He hits a shot, and now all 6 are in the ring and brawling. Everyone but Stasiak and Albert fight to the outside, and Albert hits a big scissor kick to Stasiak. Albert hits the Baldo bomb, but Morris and Kanyon break up the pin attempt. Referee Charles Robinson is distracted, so Morris DDTs Albert and then tags in. Albert hits a power slam. Gunn tagged in. Gunn hits a famouser on Morris. The referee is distracted. Stasiak comes in and hits a reverse DDT to Gunn, and Morris falls on Gunn to get the pin. The Big Show chokeslams Morris, Stasiak, and hits an alley-oop on Kanyon. Shane McMahon is with Booker T, who is the WCW World and U.S. Champion. They hype each other up. Tajiri and William Regal are shown in the back. Regal sends Tajiri to take Taz out. Tajiri versus Taz. Tajiri hits the ring and they trade shots. Tajiri beats Taz in the corner. Back and forth. Taz with a series of forearms. Tajiri comes back with kicks. Taz with a clothesline. He gets a snapmare and hits Tajiri with forearms. He beats Tajiri down in the corner. He gets a 2 count. Taz gets a cross arm breaker, but Tajiri gets to the ropes. Taz with a big slam. He gets another 2 count. Tajiri with a springboard back elbow. They go outside and Taz runs Tajiri into the ring steps. Referee Tim White makes Taz get back. Tajiri gets Taz in the tarantula. He then gets a 2 count. Taz with a T-bone suplex. Tajiri hits Taz with the green mist and hits the kick to get the pin. The Hardy Boys are shown in the back. Matt tells Jeff he needs to finish Rob Van Dam early. RVD then comes in and hits Matt with a chair and tells Jeff he is next. Jeff checks on Matt. WWF Hardcore Championship match. Jeff Hardy versus Rob Van Dam. RVD out first. Hardy comes out to a massive ovation. He comes out and attacks RVD right away. They trade moves. RVD goes for his pose and Hardy drop kicks him from behind. He gets a 2 count. RVD with a splash for a 2 count. He can't get the pin. RVD goes up for a moonsault, but Hardy pushes him from the top rope to the outside. Hardy with a baseball slide to RVD. Hardy jumps up on the barricade and pushes RVD off. They fight out in the crowd. RVD moonsaults off of a barrier onto Hardy. They fight back to the ringside. RVD dumps Hardy on the barricade and delivers a spinning heel kick to him from the apron. He gets a 2 count. An RVD chant goes out. Hardy with a sunset power bomb from the apron to the floor. A holy shit chant goes out. Hardy goes under the ring and sets up a ladder. He climbs it, but RVD pushes the ladder over. RVD grabs the chair, but Hardy pushes the ladder into RVD, grabs the chair, and hits RVD with it repeatedly. RVD and Hardy fight up the aisle, and RVD hits the Van Daminator, and Hardy flies off the stage. RVD throws Hardy back up on the stage and hits a leg drop for a 2 count. RVD beats Hardy down in the ring and hits another Van Daminator. Hardy gets his knees up on a split-legged moonsault from RVD. Hardy hits a DDT for a 2 count. He gets a series of 2 counts. Hardy with a jawbreaker. RVD moves on a swanton bomb attempt. RVD hits the 5-star frog splash to get the pin and become the new hardcore champion. Vince McMahon is shown in the back and Kurt Angle comes in. McMahon says he needs to be a leader. Angle says he's going to win for himself. Bra and Panties tag team match. Stacy Keibler and Tori Wilson versus Trish Stratus and Lita. Flashback to what led up to the match. Mick Foley comes back out to be a guest referee again. All the women get a great reception when they come out. Lita's the most popular by far. Stratus and Wilson start. Wilson kicks Stratus down in the corner. Stratus comes back with a clothesline. She follows up with a suplex and goes to strip Wilson, but Keibler breaks it up. Lita tagged in. She strips Keibler's shirt off. Keibler runs away from Lita. Keibler and Wilson double team Lita and get her top off. Lita uses her shirt to snapmare Keibler. Wilson and Stratus tagged in. Wilson gets stripped. Lita hits a moonsault on Keibler and takes her pants off, and Lita and Stratus win. The Alliance is shown in the back getting hyped up by Shane, Stephanie, and Paul Lee. Steve Austin and Deborah are shown in the back. Vince McMahon comes in. Austin says he doesn't need a pep talk. He's going out there to whip some ass and then says that's the bottom line cause Stone Cold said so. Flashback to what led to the main event. Inaugural brawl. Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Chris Jericho, The Undertaker, and Kane versus DDP, Booker T, Rhino, and the Dudley Boys. Shane McMahon out first. Paul Lee and Stephanie are out next, followed by Vince McMahon. Then the teams are introduced. They alternate entrances on each side. Undertaker attacks DDP when he comes down, and they all start to brawl on the outside as Austin's music hits and he comes down. The crowd cheers wildly, and an Austin chant goes out. Austin throws Rhino in and the bell rings. He beats Rhino down and stomps him in the corner. Austin with a Fez press. He gets a 2 count. Austin superplexes Rhino, but Devon makes the save. Jericho tagged in. He hits a flying forearm. Rhino comes back with a clothesline. Booker T tagged in. Jericho with a hip lock takeover for a 2 count. Jericho with a missile dropkick for a 2 count. Angle comes in and stomps Booker down. He hits a back elbow. Booker comes back with a spin kick. Devon tagged in. Back and forth. Kane tagged in. Kane with a corner clothesline and a sidewalk slam. Devon briefly comes back, but Kane hits a belly-to-back suplex. Bubba tagged in, and he and Devon hit the 3D. Bubba drops some elbows and gets a 2 count. Kane hits a flying choke slam, but Devon breaks up the count. Undertaker tagged in and hit a series of corner whips. Bubba comes back with a back elbow and a clothesline. Undertaker with a flying clothesline and a leg drop for a 2 count. Undertaker hits Old School. DDP guillotines Undertaker on the top rope, and Bubba hits a suplex for a 2 count. Rhino tagged in. He beats Undertaker down in the corner and DDP tagged in. He continues the assault and gets a 2 count. A clothesline gets another 2 count. DDP with a DDT for a 2 count. Booker tagged in. He gets an Irish whip but drops his head and Undertaker hits a DDT. Rhino makes the save. Austin tagged in. He beats Booker down in the corner. They trade moves and fight to the outside. Austin gets the advantage, brings Booker in and tags Jericho. Booker with a back elbow. Jericho gets overwhelmed by the Alliance. Devon tagged in. He beats Jericho down. Bubba tagged in. He and Jericho trade shots. Devon tagged in. Spinning heel kick by Jericho to Devon and both men down. Angle tagged in and took both Dudley boys on by himself. Angle hits a belly-to-belly suplexes on both. Bubba hits Angle with a sit-out powerbomb. Devon with a leg drop, but Undertaker makes the save. Rhino tagged in. He beats Angle in the corner. Austin makes the save. Rhino tags Bubba, and then Devon tagged in. They take turns beating Angle down. Booker tagged in. He hits a scissor kick, and then the spin-a-rooney. Undertaker makes the save. DDP tagged in. He keeps making covers, and Austin keeps making the save. The crowd loves it. DDP with a clothesline. The Dudley boys hit the what's up on Angle, while DDP distracted referee Mike Chioda. DDP back in against Angle. He gets a 2 count. DDP with a front face lock. Angle fights and gets to the corner, and Austin tagged in. But Chioda doesn't see it, and I think there's going to be a riot. Rhino tagged in. DDP hits a neck breaker, and Undertaker comes in and attacks DDP. Now all wrestlers except Austin come in. Rhino accidentally gores Booker. Undertaker side slams and choke slams DDP. He goes to hit the last ride, but gets stopped by referee Charles Robinson as Austin and Booker are now fighting on the outside. Robinson gets the last ride. DDP and Undertaker fight out to the crowd. Kane takes the announce table apart. The Dudleys double team Kane. They run him into the ring steps and set a table against the barricade. Kane chokeslams Devon through the announce table. Rhino attacks Kane. Bubba and Rhino suplex Kane through the Spanish announce table. Jericho comes and spears Rhino through the set-up table. Wrestlers down everywhere. Booker and Bubba beat Angle down in the corner. Angle starts to fight back. He hits Bubba with the angle slam. He gets the ankle lock on Booker, who kicks off and Chioda gets taken out. Booker hits a flapjack, but there's no referee. Vince grabs the WWF title and throws it to Angle, but Shane grabs it and hits his father with it. Angle clotheslines Shane out and hits the angle slam on Booker. He puts the ankle lock on and Booker taps. Austin tries to bring Chioda around. Austin gets in and stuns Angle and puts Booker on top of Angle and makes Chioda count the pin, and the Alliance wins. The crowd and the announcers are stunned as the Alliance celebrate, and they sign off from Cleveland. Final thoughts: a hot show with a weird ending. The WWF did not know how to book this angle. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TheJoeyHarris. If you like the show, please leave a review on iTunes, Apple Podcasts, or your preferred podcast app. I would really appreciate it. We can also be found on Spotify and YouTube. Just search for The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show, and don't forget to hit subscribe. Thank you for joining me this week. This is Joey saying so long from the heart of Virginia.
The Cup of Joe Wrestling Show is a production of Baby Kangaroo Media.